Welcome to Addicted to Acting. And this is my good friend, even though I've only known him a short time. I had a great time working with him, Joseph Lymous, who's a multi-talented. How would you I don't know how to describe you.
That's very sweet, because all the children's shows that I watched when I was a kid told me I was special in my own way. But the industry would refer to me as a multi-hyphenate. I'm an actor, comedian, puppeteer, and producer. And I work in all of those things.
If you had to pick one, what's your number one?
I think I would go in order of the way that they came to me, or the way that I became aware of them. And that's acting, comedy, puppetry, and producing. I think, I put the hyphens in order.
Okay, now here's the first question that I ask everyone, even though this is the second. Why are you addicted to acting?
I think I'm addicted to acting because of my mom being a performer in the Black church. And I think watching my mom perform in like the most like fantastical environment you can imagine, which is the Black church. Like the Southern Black church is one of the most entertaining spaces that you can be in. And because my mom was a singer and a performer and I got to witness her be in those spaces, it gave me that itch. And I don't think that there was ever anything else I was going to do.
My wife went to college in Atlanta at Emory, and she's Jewish. And one of her classes was theology. And the best experiences she had was going to a Southern Baptist church that just rocked.
Yeah.
She said they shredded. It was great. Her and her friends, these Northeastern college girls, they went like 3-4 times.
Yeah.
She just said it was amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah, it'll make you believe in Jesus. Or good music.
Well,
really, it's the good music.
Well, I just, I could go on this diatribe. My whole thing is we just need to be nice to each other. That's rule number one. Everybody's trying to figure everything out politically. And I go, we just really have to be nice to each other. And it kind of starts there. So when you go into an experience of like that, regardless of what you believe in, when you leave, you feel like being nice to someone.
That's right. Yeah. That you feel.
So take me from there. So you're in the church, you're singing, you're animated, you're a great performer. We saw you on the Chair Company. And I've seen all of your work with puppeteering and with your theater work. So, and your voiceover work. So you have a very wide range, and you're very animated. Did it start there?
Start where? What you mean?
In church.
Oh, I think so. I would say first was family. My family's from New Orleans. And so just being from New Orleans as a whole gives you a kind of animation and a kind of love for art and music and drama that I think not a lot of places gives you. So like just by the very nature of being born in New Orleans, I think I was given all of those things naturally. And then going to church was then like an escalation of that. So like we're heightening all of the drama and good food and good music that happens at home to another level, which they thought was Jesus, but I just thought it was just good production.
Joseph's 8 years old. He's like, okay, that was great. Let's run it back and do it again.
Let's do it again. Yeah. Do
it again. A little more over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been to New Orleans to cover sports. Now, I come from a very uptight region known as New England.
Mm-hmm.
It's people in New England, which was frustrated with in my own sports medium, are afraid to make fools of themselves. And if you're going to be an actor or you're going to be a performer, you have to lose that inhibition right away.
Right.
So did you ever have that inhibition, or is my read on New Orleans correct, where it is just a free environment?
Yeah, I think it is a very, very free environment. I think I studied acting. I took like summer workshops and things like that in high school and middle school, but then went to college for it. And I would say like the first half of the freaking semester of anything that I ever did, it was like trust exercises and
Right,
like
right.
getting rid of inhibitions and all this stuff. And I'm like, you're wasting my time. I don't need to play these games to get to the point where I'm open enough
Right.
to play a character. I was born open enough because I got it from my grandfather. I got it from my grandmother. We are wired this way. And so like that part of like, oh, how do I embody a character? It's like my grandmother's telling stories and playing all 17 characters in the story all day, every day. And so that was just something that I already had.
So when did you think you wanted to do this for a career?
It was two musicals on VHS, and those were Annie and Little Shop of Horrors that I had on VHS. And my mom was like, "You know, this is a job, right? Like these people are getting paid." And I think up until that point, this is probably I'm like 7 or 8 years old. Up until that point, I was like, "Oh, doctor, lawyer, pilot." I was saying all the things that little kids say or that they're trained to say. And then my mom like gave me the nudge, like these ladies are getting paid. These guys are doing this and they make money doing it. And I was like, that's it. That's what I'm doing. And it's been that for me ever since.
So I want to play the plant in Little Shop of Horrors. That's always been mine. I
So
want to
fun.
be that.
So fun.
So have you been in those productions?
I've not, well, I was Oliver Warbucks in Annie Jr. when I was very young. And it was the type of thing where I was doing it in like a very small town in Louisiana. And I had a big old afro and I'm black. And I'm like, they're not going to let me play Daddy Warbucks. Like, this is a bald headed white guy. And then I got the role and I was like, oh, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
How old were you then?
This was middle school, so embarrassing for my friends, but I was proud to get off campus and do it. I forget, however old you are, around sixth, seventh grade.
So I'm still pissed off that I didn't get to play Santa Claus in the second grade play at Abbott School with Mrs. Canower because
Mm.
Michael Quigley beat me out because he was taller than me. So I got second L from the right.
And
And
where's Michael now?
that's a good question. I could I could Google him. There's probably a lot of Michael Quigleys. But anyways, um, that's what I knew. I definitely wanted to be in entertainment and be in front of the camera. And sports media, contrary to what some of my fellow journalists say, sports media is all entertainment, especially now. It's all, well, unfortunately, so is the news, which that's a whole other story. Um, it's all entertainment. It's all performing. It's all being a character or being animated for sports fans. So, okay, so you wanted to be an actor, and then so you go to college. And when did you was that a paid gig, Daddy Warbucks?
No, 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 no.
Oh,
That was like
when was your first
a
paid
summer
gig? When was your
program.
first paid gig?
My first like little paid gig was I was in a short form improv comedy troupe in college. I was a freshman, and there was a bunch of upperclassmen that had formed a troupe, and they let me audition, and I got in, and I think I was making like $50 a show. But then like my first like money thing I made $600 for 1 week of playing Sammy Davis Jr. in the Rat Pack at like a convention in Orlando,
Get
Florida.
out.
Yeah.
Do you have video of that?
I don't. I would have to go back to that company and ask if they have it, but there's definitely a photo because it was me and my two friends who played Dean Martin and Frank
If you can get a
Sinatra.
photo, because I
Yeah.
want to slap it up on the screen here
Oh
when we
yeah,
post
I would
this.
absolutely give that
Oh
to
my
you.
God, Joseph, that is a dream role.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy, and I got to like perm my hair up and
Oh
stick it
yeah.
back, and I did the whole thing.
Hey, those
Um,
cats. Hey,
Yeah.
cats.
Oh,
What's
it was
up,
crazy.
cats?
It was really, really fun. And it was a type of job that they were like, oh, you can do anything. So like there was a card down at the hotel so we could order room service and like basically the whole thing was free. And we were all college students at the time. And I remember arriving back home to my house that I lived in with my roommates at the time, absolutely hungover. I feel like I threw up on the plane like twice on my way back home.
Right.
And I'm like going to my room, rolling my suitcase. My roommate was like, how was it? And I was like, when things are free, it's not good. I just left the room because we took advantage.
Oh, of course. Of course you do.
Yeah.
Did you sing?
I did the Candyman. Yeah,
You did.
I did the Candyman.
Can you pull a little bit out for me
Oh my God,
right
no.
now?
No, it's early in the
Oh,
morning,
come on.
sis.
Don't be a, come
Beginning
on.
with do. I'll give
Oh,
you that. I'll give you with
please.
do.
The candy. I can't even, I'm not going to try. I'm awful at impersonations. Okay. So you go from there. Then how do you get to New York?
So I was working in the mall at a Gap, and there was a weird guy who was trying on jeans who
I
asked
don't
me
like where this is
randomly.
going.
I know, right? It was very weird guy trying
Everybody's
on
got one of
denim.
those stories like this guy gave me a card and I'm like, ah.
Yeah, it was very that. He's like, "Are you interested in acting? Like, you seem to be like good at this job." And at the time, I was majoring in theater, so I was like, "Which monologue do you need, baby? Like, I'll pull out anything you want." And he says that he's got this guy named Ron Milkey. Ron Milkey was the police officer in the first Nightmare on Elm Street film, and
Okay.
and so Ron was doing workshops in New Orleans, and the deal was that if there were 20 or more people in the workshop, he was going to bring two people back to New York to like meet agents and managers and stuff. Or in 20 or less, there was going to be one. There was 19 people, and I was the one person that he flew out to New York for one summer to like basically work under him as an acting coach and also meet these different casting agents and managers and stuff like that. And so I did
And it
one.
was legit.
It was legit. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
it felt
Joseph's
crazy.
like,
Yeah, my mom was definitely like, "What's going on?"
yeah.
I was 19 at the time. She's like, "This feels all kind of crazy and weird." But it was all legit. Ron Milkey's really incredible. He's still around, still acting, and still I think doing acting coaching work as well. But yeah, that I did a summer here in '03, and then became wildly addicted to New York, and then did the rest of college and came back here in '06.
So after that, so when you get to New York, then do you start doing all these other things? Because one of the frustrating things about acting is you need to fill the downtime.
Right, right. So when I first moved to New York, I was I was working in the mall. I transferred in the mall in '06 from I was working at an Express store. I don't know if you ever shopped at Express, had a little one in Mex on you or anything like that. But
It wasn't really my thing, but I do remember seeing them at the Bangor Mall.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they were big at a time. And so I transferred from my Express in Louisiana to the Express in the Manhattan Mall and was a manager at that Express for about a year.
Oh, all right.
And I was auditioning here and there, but within the year, I want to say I was there for maybe like 9 months, and I booked a gig that was going to take me away in the next 3 months. So a year total as a manager. And that gig was with a theater company called Imago. And they're a physical theater company that does like a lot of clowning and lecoq and mask work, big costumes, very physical. And that company had puppetry in it. The backstage, if you remember picking up a backstage magazine,
I
back when
do.
it was a publication, yeah. So I picked up a backstage, and in the backstage, they were looking for performers with the depth of an actor, the grace of a dancer, and the timing of a comedian. And I was like, that's me. And there was puppetry in those shows, and so that's how I accidentally became a puppeteer. It was never something that I was looking for. It just became a thing that was on my resume. And so I started getting calls to come in and do puppetry work.
Okay, before we leave the acting thing fully, do you have a method? Do you have a process? Because when we were working on the chair company, I thought the offstage show in the room we were in was as entertaining as the,
Pretty good.
oh my
Pretty good.
God,
Pretty
it was
good.
great. It was
Yeah.
great. So, then it's all right, your scene's coming up. And I didn't have that many lines, but I was like nervous. You run in, there were all these side rooms, and like we'd all run in and like run our lines. And you had a really good monologue at the end. So, I mean, do you have a process? Are you method? Do you subscribe to any theory?
No, not currently. I've trained. I've done the Stanislavski stuff and
Right.
like taken workshops in all the different areas, Meisner and all these things. What's my process? My process is like be in it.
Right.
I bet that's probably Stanislavski or something. I don't know who does that, but like I just want to be engaged with what's happening in real time. I just want to be engaged with what what I see and what I feel. And also like I do often try to find a button, especially if I'm improvising. And there's a few times on this set where on the Chair Company set where I was able to improvise. And so for me, like trying to figure out what like where the scene ends is a thing. And because comedy is a natural part of how I work, that is something also I'm working in. But I think that comedy comes from just being in the reality of what's happening. I think naturally funny things will happen when you are just facing the actual reality of what's happening in the room.
Yeah, I've never actually studied officially, but I've read all of the theories, and I'm people in my house just think I'm weird, you know. I mean, I'm an acting junkie. I love everybody. I love talking process. I love hearing about the process from everybody. I just find it interesting because it's really psychology. I
Hmm.
mean, it really is. I mean, really psychology. So,
That was
um,
the only class I did good in college that wasn't an
psychology.
acting class. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's the same stuff, you know, where you have Vincent D'Onofrio, who's like complete method, um, or you've had other actors say, you know, Anthony Hopkins read the script 250 times, and when they say action, forget about everything and go. And I think what I've come down to, because I have to keep things simple, I'm naturally not a very organized person. Like if I try to do too many things at once, nothing gets done.
Mhm.
And I just think it's real behavior and imaginary circumstances.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
works for me. Like
yeah,
when I'm doing it, it's real,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
And
I will say that though. This and when I'm talking about like a role like George on the Chair Company. I've done some features, and when you're doing a feature and you're like really digging into something that you're going to be spending weeks or month with,
right.
there is more writing involved. There is more like grounding myself in who the character is and
Would
creating
you
a
write a
character.
backstory?
Yeah, well, I'll create a backstory and kind of think about where the character's coming from. And even with George, there is a little bit of writing a backstory. So it's not just being in the moment. There is a little bit of writing or at least thinking about what's been happening before
Well, what
this.
was your backstory on
So
George?
yeah, so I think that George has
For those
been.
of you who don't know, he plays George in the Chair Company, where he plays the lovely Lake Bell's assistant. He's
Yes,
very funny. Go
but
ahead.
also maybe business partner because I
Or
can't work out how the freak I'm getting drunk at all these functions and I have a job, but I'm the assistant. So like there's some like gray area that's happening
dude,
there.
It's Tim.
Yeah,
It's Tim and Zach. It's Tim Robinson. I mean, you just go with it. I mean,
yeah.
there are some things in that show where like, you're like, it's funny, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, for me, and I guess I should just use this as an opportunity to say it, I have such like reverence and honor to be in the world of that show that like people I think are a lot of times like real humble about like, oh, it was nothing or whatever. This is not that for me. This is like this is something and it's out of my hands, and I feel like I'm working with some really wonderful comedic and artistic geniuses, and I'm just thankful to be in the room. Um, but but
Agreed.
but I think that with George, I think George has worked for a lot of startups in the past that have all folded. I don't think that they've folded because of him, but I think that he is that character that he is on the show, which is like he's gonna party and have a good time. So when they were folding, I don't think that he was a part of helping them not fold. So like he didn't plant the seed for the shit to hit the fan, but he definitely was nowhere to be found when it was time for it to happen. But because he's got these like good startups on his resume, obviously Barb has come along and been like, okay, this guy's done some stuff. Maybe he'll be able to help me with my organization. And it seems like it's going well. So,
Well, let's talk about the scene that got cut.
oh yeah. Oh, which one?
Well, yeah, well, the one in the restaurant when I first met you,
Oh, RC. Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So for me, quickly, my backstory with Evan was he's definitely a scoundrel. Um, Catherine, who plays my wife, and talk about, I mean, she's like Broadway royalty. She comes in doing this show. She's like a
Solid.
piece of cake after doing
Solid.
5 years of stage in, London. But, Evan for me he's definitely a whore. He's
Mm.
definitely sleeping around. He's,
Oh.
are you kidding me? Oh yeah. And oh, there's no
Are
doubt.
you kidding me?
Oh no, Evan. Oh, Evan's definitely that's kind of what like I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if I should have done this or not, but when Catherine went into Hug Lake, it wasn't in the script, but I did too.
Mm-hmm.
I just did it. And I was like, I don't know if I should have done that. And then they were like, yeah, just wait 5 seconds after that because it's supposed to be really awkward.
Right.
And then I thought after the fact, they're either being kind to me and maybe they just need the room to edit that out. I don't know. But like my backstory with Evan was, oh yeah, he's totally draining the money from Catherine to live this lifestyle. And he's not very smart. Because one of the things that didn't show up in the script, which I loved, was everybody thought he was a lawyer. He was a paralegal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but they cut
So
that.
that's definitely not his house.
Yeah. Oh no. So he's like messing. I mean, this dude is pulling a Schwarzenegger. I mean, he's messing with the help. I mean, oh yeah, Evan is dumb and horny.
Okay. And then so actor to actor. So that we don't see that, right? We don't get to see
Right.
Evan off fucking the help or whatever. What how did that manifest with you on set?
Well, when I went to, because when Lake came in, like, and she hugs him, Catherine hugs her, and that I go, because he plays with his hair, he's got the great suit,
Mhm.
and then so then he goes in and he does the hug, which so like, and when he's sitting next to Tim. I had some lines about, it's a good place to work, blah, 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 blah. And then, but he's so stupid. See, the thing about Evan is he thinks he's smart.
Yeah.
He's like, Evan is a pseudo-intellectual horn dog.
Right. Because he works around lawyers, so he has to feel like he's smart.
Dude, I've worked in media and this is like every sales guy I ever knew. Right? I mean, they think they're smarter than they are.
Yeah.
And they're slime bucket. And he's a slime bucket. So like this guy, like Evan would go into, Evan would go get a custom suit and, put it on Catherine's account. You know what I mean?
If you're married, that's how it should go, right? Isn't that marriage? Isn't that we are one or whatever?
Well, I don't, yeah, but but he would, true, but he doesn't really contribute. He's just like, he's a prop to her. And then, so, when he sits here and he goes, and he one of the lines I think it ends, he says to Tim, he says, basically, but, as paralegals, we don't get any respect. He says that line, well, as paralegals, we don't get any respect. And Tim goes, paralegal. He's saying that line as if he's a fucking doctor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right? Like he's a doctor. I mean, he's kind of like, in some ways, he's kind of like Anchorman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got great hair. He's got a great suit.
You've got great hair.
I've got great hair. That's no method. But see that now, but that's the shit we do. That's the good stuff.
Yeah.
That's the fun shit.
Yeah. Do you know about anglerfish?
Is it something in your act?
No, it's not at all. I just found out about this. So anglerfish, these are one of the fish that it's like in the very deep parts of the ocean, and it has like the little light in front of it, and it uses.
Oh, right.
So that's what I thought its biggest feature was, but I just found out that anglerfish females, what they do is they allow males to like bite on to their flesh, but then they'll eventually just absorb into the body of the female. And she could have up to like 8 like males at a time that she can just like take sperm from and like have babies whenever she wants. And when you're describing Evan, it's reminding me of that like you just like glommed on
totally
Alice in the show.
Totally.
And it's like, yeah, I'll take what I need.
Oh, he is so whipped. I mean, Alice runs the ship.
Yeah.
I mean, there's anyways. So, but okay. So because I do want to get to pancakes and I do want to get to your puppeteering.
Yeah.
What I thought of working on the chair company, because I'm with you, we've done some other feature films, but right now, Tim Robinson and Zach, the co-creator, they are at the top of their game. Mm-hmm. They are the top comedians in the world right now because it's all generational, right? My daughter and my son can't believe I'm on the chair company. They love it. I mean, it's definitely a younger demographic, and I've seen where Tim and Zach were on Seth Meyers, and they said, when they were on SNL the first time, they always used to get the last slot because people weren't really ready for them yet.
Right.
And now like the world is ready for the comedy. And the thing that I appreciate is They're very nice. They're very loose. They're not pretentious at all. But they don't give a fuck. They're like, this is what we're doing. And that's it.
Yeah.
Don't you think? And it's working.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, whenever an artist or a project comes along that is pushing the line of where the line is, I am just so grateful because, as we've said, like, I come from art, I come from New Orleans, I come from like wanting to do things that are left of center. And I think the industry, especially now with the industry changing the way it is, people are looking for things that are right down the middle of the road because they are guaranteed. But when someone can create a guarantee that is left of center, that is pushing the envelope of what is the norm, I am so unbelievably grateful for those folks who are pioneering those spaces before me. And yeah, it's just so freaking cool and so exciting.
Like, I'm like wondering what the hell is happening next? Like the little guy in the closet.
Yeah.
I'm like, what now? Anything else? That's one of my, and I think Andy also did. I think did Andy do that episode? He did our episode and that episode, I think. And then the guy's in the closet, and he ends up, and I'm like, Tim hired him to sit there and Tim's character, and then he turns out he's drunk, and then they end the show, and I have to tell you, at this moment when they did this, Joseph, I laughed for fucking 15 minutes. They brought out Twister.
Oh, yeah.
That is a game I grew up with my sister in our little 900 square foot house in Fry, Maine, where you just brought out Twister and you just spun it and they brought out Twister. I was like dying. I mean, who thinks that? I go, that is fucking genius.
Yeah.
That is, who brings out Twister? It was genius.
Yeah, there's so many genius moments in the show.
I still don't know. I still don't know what's happening. Do you?
Well, here's the thing. Let me just make sure this is public before I say something, because I think that it is, but let's see. There is a t-shirt. Well, I guess it's public because it's on my t-shirt, but I think it also is a part of the lore of the show. The t-shirt from the premiere says that there's two worlds happening and Ron is maybe the only one who can see them.
Oh, interesting.
The t-shirt says. But before you put this out, I'm going to confirm that that's also written in other places because I got that at the premiere.
Okay, I think you're fine.
I think
the other guy he's going to come. He's going to come on the pod is Joseph Tedisco, who plays Mike.
Oh yeah, love him.
Oh my God!
That's an example of a guy who could call me JoJo or Joey or something that's not Joseph, because he's one of those guys that they can't fucking say Joseph. They got to say Joey.
I talked to him on the phone for 20 minutes. I was like, I was wondering, is he going to come out? He's been at this for 40 years. This is his big break. And I'm like, I told him, and he's going to come on in a couple of weeks. I said, there's no one else that could have played your part. Like when I see him, I go, there's no one else that could do that.
Yeah. That's the brilliance of the casting of the universe of Zach Kanin and Tim Robinson, and like their team. The casting is incredible, even back from Detroiters, and I Think You Should Leave. Like everyone is just so perfectly dialed in.
I know.
And that speaks to their eye and the way they're able to find people. Because that dude is.
Oh, and then the last thing I want to Lake Bell is the adult in the room.
Well, is that right?
She's awesome. And one of the things that I appreciate, I don't know if I'm telling tales out of school, but I watch everybody to learn. And one of the things when you're on a set and you're acting, and if you're a new actor and you're going to get on a set, this is going to help you. You're so afraid you don't know what to do. Like I have to admit, for a couple of days, I mean, like I would sit there and I'm talking sports with Tim and shooting the breeze, but I don't want to say anything wrong. It's like you don't want to try to be too friendly, but you want to be friendly, and you don't want to try to fit in and be one of those guys who's obnoxious, and you just kind of want to, and like before Lake would start a scene, she would like run her lines and like sing them. Did you notice that? Which
well, with Lake and I, we had a lot of improv together, so there was a lot of that for us specifically. So I'm like an Easter egg in episode 1, and then like a little bit bigger than an Easter egg in episode 4, and then 7 is kind of my big scene. But with 1 and 4, there's no dialogue in the script, but on the day, Zach would bring me lines. And
Lines.
then with beyond those lines, I was allowed to improvise, and all of that was with Lake. And so for me, I never got to see her like working out lines, because we were working out what the freak we're about to say. We'd always be running little improvs.
That's fun, man. That's really fun.
It
That was
was
fun.
delicious. It was absolutely
But like,
delicious.
even when we were at that table in the scene that get cut, like she's running her lines before, and I go, that is so cool, because this is for actors, for young, it's people starting out. That is Lake Bell. That is an established theatrical star. I mean, she is legit, right? And
Absolutely.
she's sitting there and she's getting her method and like running her lines, and it's like and getting ready, and it's like that's the way it's done. That's how you get it done. I mean, I
Yeah.
learned so much on that shoot. The crew was, I just learned a ton
Yeah.
on that shoot. Anyways, so anything else to add on that before we move on to Tigers and Pancakes?
I don't
Good.
think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What the hell is this? Tigers and Pancakes. What the fuck? I see that thing. I'm like, what the turning tigers into pancakes?
That's right.
What acid-induced fucking evening brought you to this?
First of all, I haven't done acid in a very long time. But no, Turning Tigers into Pancakes is my solo show, which I refer to as a sermon, a story, a comedy special. It was commissioned by Dixon Place down on the Lower East Side. They for years were trying to get me to come there and do a show, and they were like offering me money, and I just didn't know what I was going to do. And then eventually it all came together in my brain. Turning Tigers into Pancakes is a riff on how we make lemonade out of lemons, but it's a reference to a children's book that you might remember. Did you ever read the story of Little Black Sambo as a kid?
No.
Okay. So the story of Little Black Sambo is historically like one of the most like racist children's books that like had global success. And when I was little, my aunt told me that story, but word of mouth, and she changed it to Little Brave Sambo.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know about the racist book until I was like in my 20s when I was chatting with a friend. And so I called my aunt. I'm like, hey, they're talking about some Little Black Sambo. Do you know anything about this? She says, yes, the book was banned in the US, and she gave me the whole history. But then she actually sent me a copy of the book. And in the front of the book, she wrote, the least and most you can give any child is a story. Happy storytelling of this story and your own. And so
you got a great family.
They're incredible. My family is also like the funniest people you've ever met in your life. Like comedians could never. But I use that as a jump off point to tell stories from my life of all the different times I've had to overcome things. And it's all through the lens of comedy, but it's all the ways I've overcome and turned tigers into pancakes. And that reference, because in the story, this little boy outsmarts these tigers in the woods. He turns them into butter, and then he brings that butter home to his mom, and his mom makes pancakes for dinner.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's kind of the whole arc, is that like it was a kind of a.
Are you crying?
Moment. No, I've been crying this whole time because I put eye drops before.
Okay, because I thought you were getting emotional about your eyes.
No, I look high.
That was my view
I'm
moment.
Crying. Oh, sorry. No, I'm crying.
That's all right. Yes. Okay, so how long is the show, and what are people going to see when they go?
So the show is an hour.
Because I'd go to see it if I didn't have to drive 5 hours.
No, I understand. So
is it on video?
It is. So we shot a live taping of it because the idea was that I was going to dial it in to be in exactly an hour, because I'm looking for distribution to try to put it on a streamer somewhere. And so that was the kind of the goal, was that it would be a live performance. And then I do have the live component, which can tour if we want to do that. But then also there's the recorded version, which I'm going to try to sell, which as soon as I have some sort of cut, I'd be happy to share that with you.
Oh, I'd love to see it. Yeah.
But there is a little visual teaser, like, so you can kind of see images that I sent to you that we can probably put up somewhere.
Okay, now let's get to you carrying the floating fish.
The floating fish.
The puppeteers.
Oh, that
yeah, and tell everybody about the Henson thing and everything you do.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, I accidentally became a puppeteer back in 06 or 07 when I got that first job out in Portland, Oregon. And then from there, I've just become the guy who people call to do kind of weird puppetry projects. So I do what I say is my work spans from the theater at the Bushwick Star to the Metropolitan Opera House. And then as far as film and television, I do a lot of practical effects puppetry. So I played a bunch of different robots in an Apple TV show called Hello Tomorrow. And then also was a
Okay,
part of
whoa, slow down.
yeah.
How do you, when you play a robot, because the thing that thinks that, are you like the little guy in C-3PO? I mean, are you actually in it? How do you do that?
No. So the weird thing on Hello Tomorrow was that they actually, and this is like shout out to anybody who wants puppetry in your thing, consult a puppeteer before you start making the thing. They actually built real robots that they then wanted puppeteers to puppeteer. So they actually were kind of problematic and loud on set and weird. But we were on the outside. This is like a green suit job. So we're on the outside, green suits with rods, making the robot do the things that it does. And the robots were like bartenders and mail people. They were, kind of all the workers in this world. And then Dying for Sex is another show that I worked on with Michelle Williams. Right. There's an episode where some kind of fantastical things start to happen towards the end of the show. And they called in some puppeteers to do that. My partner, John Riddleberger, and I both were on that team. Puppeteering all different kinds of stuff, including a flying penis, which Michelle Williams mentions in her acceptance speech at the Actor Awards.
I'm the flying penis.
Yeah, she says, and to the geniuses with the flying penises. And I'm like, oh, that's us.
God, yeah. Crazy. That just made me think the end of episode 5 with Scrooge and the Chair Company.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of fell out. I went, where did that come from? And I'm like, I was like, holy Jesus Christ. Anyways,
you can do whatever you want to do when you're Tim Robinson and you're on.
Well, right now they're it. I mean, he's the funniest guy alive. People, and he deserves it. I mean, he totally deserves it because those guys have stuck to what they do.
Yeah,
like this is what we do. Right. We're not gonna, Lorne wasn't big on it when they started out. I hope he goes back and hosts, but who knows? So I think. Oh, here's the question I had on the puppeteer. This may be weird. Do you get into if you're a puppeteer? Do you get into the character of the puppet? Is there any of your acting skill in there?
Absolutely. So,
really?
Yeah, for sure. And it should be said that like when you're working as a puppeteer, you're being paid like a principal actor in any sort of SAG project. Okay. And so that is a thing. And then. So I'll just give you a recent story. A friend of mine, James Ortiz, James and I work on a bunch of different projects together, but primarily we worked at the Metropolitan Opera House. James was the on-set puppeteer and the puppeteer lead on Project Hail Mary, which is a new blockbuster that just came out. And the story goes that he was doing the on-set voice while puppeteering, but then ended up being asked to be the actual voice that they use. He didn't know he was going to be that voice until the trailer was about to drop for the project. And so then he had to go back in and do a bunch of ADR and pull it all together. And the thing that's really bothersome to me is that the industry is like, what? A puppeteer can be an actor? This is insane. And James is very gracious and like being very like humble about the whole thing. But for me as an actor who is also a puppeteer, I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs, like, dear industry, if I'm putting a character into something, even if it's not my own body, I am acting, I am performing. And so, and especially as me, because I do voiceover work, I am a puppeteer, I am an actor. Right. I understand that those things are all a part of what is called performance. And so the industries, even amongst puppeteers, because the Jim Henson puppeteers are somehow separate from the rest of us puppeteers within the union, not literally, but there are different needs that they have for what they do. And there are some like, telling tales out of school a little bit, but there is some like dissension between us, even within the union as to what we need and like what our needs are. Because of the different styles of puppetry, but it's typically the Jim Henson style Muppet puppeteers and everybody else.
Are you worried about? I was going to say cloning or CGI. I mean, can you, as actors, we're obviously being worried about being replaced digitally. Is that an issue for puppets, I would assume?
Yeah, absolutely. But the wonderful thing is that the union is already working on that. That is something that's a conversation that's already being had. And then we're in a little bit of a renaissance where puppetry is being asked for. That like this story about James and Project Hail Mary is a Hail Mary for the puppetry community, actually, because what it's showing the industry, what it's showing producers is that this is a valuable medium that like people are going to fall in love with the thing. It's the same thing as Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda, I forget his name, but there was somebody who called out the folks who did that show and was like, you're cowards for shooting the CGI version of this as backup, because you should just be leaning on this real practical thing, because people fall in love with it without a doubt. Like I always say, you can have a human walk on stage and a puppet walk on stage. And if that puppet gets sad, people are going to care way more about that puppet than if the human got sad, by 100%.
Fozzie Bear, personal favorite of mine.
You see?
Yeah, there you go. You know, Kermit, Animal the drummer. But anyway, sorry, all Henson, but that's
no. And I have a relationship with all of his children. I know all of Jim Henson's children. I've gotten a workshop grant to make work from Cheryl Henson, and I've worked with Brian Henson, who's his son, who's out in Los Angeles and does a little bit more of the Hollywood puppetry stuff. And so yeah, I respect it and I love it, and I do it. I did a hand and rod. Hand and rod is like what the Muppet style puppets are, with Adam McKay's company Yellow Dot. They had a pilot called So You Think You Can Science, and so I also do that and enjoy doing that. It's usually more of the comedy stuff, but than the high art stuff. But yeah, I respect it as well.
Shout out Adam McKay, an executive producer on The Chair Company.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. We love the big guys.
Yeah.
Joseph, man, this has been awesome. It really has been. I really appreciate the time. I hope to get to see you again soon. And any parting words?
I just want to say thank you to you. I think that you have had like such an open vessel of like friendship and communication and like, dialogue. I think immediately when we got on set, we had a rapport where we could sit and laugh and talk.
There's no doubt. It's like, I did not know Joseph, and I just love it. You know, maybe I'm lucky because it's my second career. I was a sportscaster forever. You know, I've been very fortunate. I've interviewed Tom Brady. I've been to Super Bowls, all that stuff. So like, this is gravy. Right. Yeah. So like we get on the set at the Chair Company and Joseph, and he sits across and they go, and we just started laughing.
We just laughed the whole time.
I said to Randy, I go, I like this guy. I go, this guy this guy gets it.
Yeah.
You know, I go, this guy gets it. And we ad-libbed a bunch of shit. Unfortunately, they didn't use it.
Right. But we still did it.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
Joseph, I'll see you soon, my friend.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.